Some disclaimers before we start. Potential spoilers, maybe, so don't watch this if you don't want to see anything that may be in the game. Also, I know my mic is fuzzy. It should be fixed for next video, and same with the audio editing, because I'm getting a new software soon. Another thing is the fact that this was supposed to come out the day after 8/1, but I had a lot of school projects, and then when that cleared, I had a hand injury, so it's been a struggle to be completely honest, but finally, here we are. And lastly, this is my first time doing something like this, so expect, weird stuff, and I don't know how this actually is, so just give me some recommendations in the comments if you have any. If you enjoyed this, subscribe for more, and at 300 subs, I will dress up as Mirage. Okay, that is all. Enjoyed the video. We finally got our first teaser for the 8th layer of Ultrakill, Fraud. Now currently, all we have is the song called In Absentia Logos, but by only this one song, we can actually learn a lot. Now let's start with figuring out what the name actually means. The title, In Absentia Logos, is Greek, and basically translates to the phrase, in the absence of logic. Now there are a couple theories with this, with the most obvious one being that we are going to be in a layer that makes no sense in the slightest. Which means, this layer will most likely have a lot more gimmicks than most other layers. Maybe something like you losing your path because a change is behind you, which may include something like this level, called High Society by Spelunky Gaming, or gravity changes and getting lost like this art from Marzuku's songs. But one thing stood out to me as a possible theory. My idea is that the layer may even have what I like to call a false enemy. Now, to see what I mean by false enemy, let's actually take a look back at the violence layer. On June 3rd, 2023, the first violence layer sneak peek came out in the form of a song, or rather, 2 songs. Work in progress versions of both The World Looks White and The World Looks Red. But as much as I want to show how amazing these songs are and being both ambient and forceful, that is not what this video is about. Let's take a look at the art for the song. You probably already recognize what this is. At the time, there were theories that this would be an enemy, but it was not confirmed until Ultrakill Devlog 78, Mannequin. Now let's take a look back at the fraud art. Now my first reaction when seeing this was, this kind of looks like a virtue. I noticed it by the spherical structure and the rings around it, with the only difference really being the eye, which I originally just thought that this could be related to the infamous Ultrakill Eye of Hell, but I can't tie those together because the Eye of Hell has 2 pupils and irises. So that begs the question, what the actual fuck is this thing? Virtues are normally known to have a multitude of eyes, though for unknown reasons, these eyes are hidden or removed for ones that become wardens in hell. I was exiled to the treacherous Ultrakill wiki, where I was shown the concept art for virtues. This one specifically caught my eye. This is what virtues were most likely meant to look like with their eyes. And we all know that Hakata loves bringing back stuff from the concepts. In Ultrakill, virtues are lesser angels that are sent to take out threats that the greater angels see as below them, or even uninteresting. So I think that this is the fraud layer's interpretation of an angel. And because I'm making this theory, I'm going to name him Jimbo, the Devilish Angel. Now with that incredibly annoying factor being done, let's move on to the description. Hakata starts by saying, we can't quite show the level yet, but it's been a while. More on this in a second. But then he continues by saying, so here's a music preview from 8/1 Heartbreak Wonderland. Now this tells us the name of the level in which the song is from. Now what does this title mean? Well, we know that Hakata loves making references to songs, always. Like levels like Death at 20,000 volts referencing Live at 20,000 volts, and Like Antennas to Heaven referencing Lift Your Skinny Fists Like Antennas to Heaven. And when I say always, I mean like always, by the way. He even has like Street Cleaners and Filth referencing music, among like a lot of other things. But anyways, this new music reference is from a 2007 album from a one-man band called World's End Girlfriend. And it's called Heartbreak Wonderland, and it spans an insane 79 minutes. And all of this has no vocals whatsoever. How I personally interpret the name is that the level itself may be like a broken or destroyed land, kind of like the higher than the Black Sky custom level, but probably more like heaven-like due to the Wonderland part. And going back to the art for this song, it will most likely have this color palette with like light teals and golds with white, making me think that Fraud will be the closest thing that we will be getting to heaven in Ultra Kill. That begs the question, if Fraud is a mimic of heaven, then why is Fraud destroyed? Well, I have 5 theories for why this may be the case. Theory 1. Fraud was actually just built this way. I like to tie this theory a bit to Limbo because, like, it's the layer where everything is fake, and it's like meant to spite all the people by not forcing them to ever be able to meet their god. The difference setting Fraud and Limbo apart is that like Limbo looks more like a fake Earth, so maybe like Fraud will be a fake heaven meant to torture people by making them think that they made it to heaven, but it was destroyed or fake. The second theory is that husks and other creatures in Fraud managed to shape the Fraud layer into a beautiful heavenly landscape, and the angels were pissed because they saw like heaven being mocked by the husks, so they destroyed the false heaven because it made them like really pissed. Theory 3 is very similar to Theory 2, the only difference really being that mankind was instead angry at angels for making a false heaven, destroying it, and Gabriel most likely sees that threat. Theory 4 brings us back to the end of Act 2 when Gabriel went a little insane. Remember when he took off the head of the last counselor and showed it to the real heaven? Maybe he destroyed the fraudulent heaven after this because it was a mimic. Maybe the heaven we see in this final Act 2 cutscene is actually in Fraud, but that's a stretch even for me. So moving on to Theory 5. A king or queen or like very impactful person, or I'm just going to be calling them VIPs, are going to be like the prime soul for Act 3. Now, whoever this was an incredibly religious person and made Fraud into something heaven-like. They witnessed the death of Minos, and he was a revolutionist. They witnessed the death of Sisyphus, and he was an insurrectionist. But our king/queen/VIP is an extremist. They believe so much in their religious views that they forced the fraudulent world into a mimic of heaven, but either before or after the impact of the end of Act 2, they were crushed, destroyed, and beheaded, just like the other 2 prime souls. They were then imprisoned as a prime soul in some type of flesh cage and left to rot until we find them later in P3. Now, a theory tying all others together, Fraud was meant to be a fake heaven, and an extremist didn't want this fake heaven in their lair, so they destroyed every single bit of it, and the angels were all pissed, so Gabriel was sent to destroy this religious revolt, and cut off the head of our extremist for destroying the whole lair. And Jimbo, our devilish angel, is a fake angel because of its eye, because nothing in hell has eyes, making Fraud our fake heaven, and making whoever our extremist is the most likely P3 prime soul so far. Unless it is someone from treachery, which is also very possible. But so far, whoever this will be will most likely be the Prime Soul for P3. Now, I know that was like a lot, but I want to circle back because we still haven't finished talking about the description. Do you remember when I said, we can't quite show the level yet, but it's been a while? More on this in a second. Well, I guess that is finally time to talk about this, because the sentence after the one that we've been talking about for, you know, a while, says, shame on not being able to show the layer yet. If only there was some kind of show for gaming of the PC variety. This tells us that Hakuda hasn't revealed much because he wants to reveal it during the 2025 PC gaming show. So that makes June 8th when we will get our first look at the fraud layer. But what you may be thinking is, how much will we actually get to see? Well, let's go to the real hell real quick. But low effort, this isn't even hell. You're right. You are very right. However, this is. I do want to make this video, so I'll go on here so nobody else has to suffer through this. And after scrolling through tons of 100 men versus 1 gorilla debates, and I kid you not, this, I finally made it to April 13th and 14th when Dave Oshry said that there will be another Ultra Kill price increase after Fraud comes out. But that's not what I was looking for, so I went to the replies. And that's when I found this. When a user named ZPTube asked how far along the development is going, Dave Oshry replies, it's going super well. New enemies are functional and 8.1 is shaping up and is already super cool. Due to the fact that Dave said this about a month ago at this point, tells me that we will probably have all of 8.1 and maybe even another level to look at by the time that the 2025 PC gaming show comes around. And as for enemies, we will most likely be seeing 2 to 3 enemies because Hakuda likes to show some enemies, but not really all of them to keep suspense. Of course, as much as I want to see most of Fraud, he will most likely only show the unique content with some highlights, but not all features to keep suspense for when we actually get to play the new layer. But let's talk about another theory that relates Fraud to one of the most infamous and mysterious objects in the game.
What is up, my dudes? Welcome back to the channel, and in this video we're going to talk about the yellow arm.
And I also think that Gabriel's going to be the one to give you the yellow arm.
The yellow arm.
The yellow arm is going to have to be received.
The yellow arm might be something
Holy shit! It's the fucking golden arm, not the yellow arm. Let's clear it up. It says it right there. So without further ado, here it is, the fucking golden arm chapter. Jesus Christ. The gold arm has been under construction since 2019 and is one of the most theorized objects in the game. Some people still hold on to the hope that V2 will be coming back and giving us a new arm, despite Hakuda specifically saying that V2 will not be coming back. And some people think that it's Gabriel's arm, and that we will take this arm for a New Game Plus run of the game. But on Halloween, New Blood Games showed this art, which let me just start by saying, this is awesome art showing all the characters from all games in New Blood. It is just amazing. But did you notice this? Could it be that finally we found, after 5 years, the golden arm? But low effort, this doesn't confirm that this will be in Fraud. Well, this alone, no. However, there's another hint that tells us that this may actually be related to Fraud. So let's take a look at the Limbo layer, shall we? With the newest Ultra Kill update, you know, the one that took 11 months, they have added a lot of foreshadowing. However, other than my glorious king, the ferryman, getting his own statue, many noticed that even unknown statues got added. Statues of things that even we don't know currently. So let's start with talking about this one, to stay with the theory that many others have had previously. Now, who might this be? And why is it even relevant to our theories about fraud? Well, I believe that this is actually either going to be our first or second level mini-boss, kind of like the Minotaur or Sisyphean Insurrectionist, or even our final boss for fraud. Now let's get into why the hell I think that this is our climax level boss. Well, for one, this guy holds a mysterious and unique arm, something like we've never seen before. So why does this matter? Well, it tells us that this could be the source of our golden arm. But this is a left arm, and this is a right one. It doesn't match. So, theory squashed, right? Well, not exactly, because when going onto the Ultrakill official Discord, the creator of this beautiful Halloween art, named Francis, says that the design isn't wrong, though it's just his sense of direction that's fucked. Which he then follows up by saying, yeah, it should have been flipped, but I forgot. Well, that confirms the direction of the arm being a left-hand weapon at least, meaning that it will function more like a hand and not a 6-slot weapon. Which puts the Splendor theory in shambles. But anyways, then later he says, that's what I mean, I gotta check the other thing now. Now, I wonder what other thing he could possibly be talking about. Of course, it's our golden arm, making our statue line up pretty perfectly with the hand in the Halloween teaser. So who or what actually is this thing? Well, to start off, in my opinion, this kind of looks similar to Gabriel, but of course it's not Gabriel. And I doubt it's another greater angel, because not many greater angels could even really be seen in the final Act 1 cutscene. But, you know, I guess it could be possible because all their arms are just kind of covered, but I really doubt it. The real important-ish character that can really be seen with the arms kind of similar is the last counselor from the Death Stains the Auditorium scene. But again, they're dead. Like, incredibly very dead. So the working theory through most of the community is that our mystery statue will not only just give us the gold arm, but is also another fake angel. Of course, this time, it seems they're more of a greater angel, like Gabriel, than Jimbo. So, that's why this will most likely be our final boss of fraud. And I have a feeling that this character will also have eyes, because they are also a fraudulent angel, which will make them, like Jimbo, have some elusive eyes due to them acting or faking being an angel. But if you want a better explanation on this golden arm, check out Chroma Prime's video on the revamp update. He does an amazing job explaining this, so it'll be in the description if you want to check it out. Hi, I just had the long delay thing that I'll probably put in the intro, and now I am typing and editing with one hand, so you may see less effort put into the script, all that, I'm sorry. So let's just get back to the video. Now for this thing, the line. Some people have said that this is symbolism for Sisyphus, because of the sun as its head. But most people say that it is this. A green lion who is eating the sun representing ego, shining bright, and the lion representing instinct. Personally, I like to think that this is actually just our first or second level mini-boss. I don't really have any proof for this, but I just think it'd be cool. And there's a lot of foreshadowing in Limbo already, as we have seen. So I would just love to see this as a second or first level boss. Going back to fraud itself, it could have Bolgias, which are levels, I guess, of fraud that go from seducers at level 1 all the way to falsifiers who distort the truth. This concept is kind of like how violence levels were each based on different parts of violence. 7-1 being the labyrinth, 7-2 being violence against neighbors, 7-3 being violence against self, and 7-4 being violence against God. I don't know how they would implement Bolgias because there are 10 Bolgias and only 4 levels, but the final Bolgias being falsifiers would in fact connect quite directly to my 8-4 theory of the final boss being a false angel. I don't really have much else to say about this, and I don't want to delay this more than I already have, so hopefully I've covered everything about this. But if you do have more theories or more leaks, then please mention them in the comment section. I'd love to see you guys' ideas. And again, this is my first time making a video like this, so I'm definitely going to get some things wrong. But if you want me to try more videos like this, then like the video to show you want to see me make more stuff like this. I'm going to be streaming the PC Gaming Show on June 8th, and it starts at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. So if you want to see that with me, then you can visit my Twitch in the link in the description. Or just follow twitch.tv/loweffort, and that is a 0 in low. I may make a follow-up video after this, like when my hand heals and after all the fraud stuff releases. But I will also be working on another Ultra Kill related video soon. Plus another video when I do another 500% run, which will also be on my Twitch if you want to be in chat. And hopefully you'll be in a video, so yay! And then maybe a different video, like with a different game soon, is also something I have planned. But yeah. I'm also gonna be hopefully fixing the fuzziness of my mic, getting a new editing software to make better videos. So sub if you guys want to see me wear a Mirage outfit, or if you just want to support me. I hope that I see you guys again. Comments and recommendations, and I hope that you guys have a good fraud watch party, whether you spend it with me or not. See you guys.